The transmission reached Earth at 3:17 Universal Time Coordinated. It wasn't a distress call in any language we recognized, but the intent was unmistakable. A species was dying. Not from war. Not from disease. From silence. No births in over 70 years. By the time humanity decoded the signal, the alien civilization had already collapsed into scattered enclaves. Their cities still stood, gleaming, organic towers grown from crystal-like material, but they were empty, quiet, haunted by absence. And at the center of it all was her, the last viable breeder. My name is Elias Vance, and I wasn't a hero. I was a genetic compatibility specialist, someone who spent more time in labs than in space. My job was to analyze cross-species DNA for potential hybridization. 99% of the time, the answer was simple, impossible. But not this time. When their biological data came in, everything changed. Their DNA structure wasn't entirely foreign. It was adjacent to ours. Different, yes. Complex in ways we couldn't fully map, but compatible enough to try. And that's when they chose me. You're the closest match we've found, Dr. Hoshino said, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying the weight of it. Closest match, I repeated. To reproduce with an alien species. She didn't flinch. To save one. The mission was classified but not secret. Humanity watched, debated, argued. Was this salvation or interference? But in the end, curiosity and compassion won. Maybe also pride. Because for the first time in history, humanity wasn't the one asking for help. We were the answer. The ship, Astrius, carried only 3 of us, myself, Dr. Hoshino, and Commander Rykov. No weapons. No army. Just science and hope. The journey took 6 months through fold space corridors that bent reality like glass. When we arrived, the planet looked alive. Too alive. Dense, violet forests stretched across continents. Oceans shimmered with bioluminescent waves. The sky itself pulsed faintly, as if breathing. And yet no movement. No cities bustling with life. Only stillness. They're here, Rykov said as we descended. But they're not active. He was right. We found them inside their structures. Tall, elegant beings with translucent skin that reflected light like water. Their bodies were humanoid but elongated, fragile. Their eyes were wide and luminous but tired. So tired, they watched us like we were ghosts. Or miracles. She was waiting for us. Her name didn't translate cleanly, but the closest approximation was Elira. She stood taller than the others, her form more defined, more vibrant. Where the rest of her species looked dim, fading, she glowed faintly from within. The last spark. You came, she said. Not through sound, but directly into my mind. Her voice felt like warmth, like sunlight after a long winter. I did, I replied, trying not to show how overwhelmed I was. You understand what is required. I hesitated. I understand the biology, I said carefully. Her gaze deepened, almost amused. That is not what I asked. The truth was, we didn't fully understand. Their reproduction wasn't purely physical. It was bonded, a merging of neural patterns, emotional states, and genetic exchange. The act itself was as much mental as it was biological. And without that bond, it wouldn't work. You will have to connect with me, Elira said. Completely. How completely? I asked. She stepped closer. And for a moment, the world seemed to bend. More than you have ever connected with another being. Dr. Hoshino pulled me aside later. This isn't just reproduction, she said. It's integration. If something goes wrong... I know, I said. No, she insisted. You don't. If your neural patterns destabilize during the bond, you could lose your identity. Or worse, merge permanently. So I might not come back. She didn't answer. That night, if you could call it night under a glowing sky, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her. Not just her role. Her loneliness. 70 years. 70 years of being the last hope. The last possibility. The last future. The next day, the process began. They brought us into a chamber unlike anything I'd seen before. The walls pulsed with soft light, responding to our presence. The air felt thicker, charged.
Alive.
Lie down, Elira said gently. I did. She lay beside me, not touching, but close enough that I could feel the energy radiating from her. Do not resist, she whispered into my mind. Easier said than done. A flicker of something like humor passed through her. Then, trust me. The bond began with a single point of contact, her hand against mine. And suddenly, everything changed. I wasn't in the chamber anymore. I was inside her. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. I felt her memories, her world, her loss. I saw their cities at their peak, vibrant, filled with light and sound. I felt their joy, their connection, their unity. And then, the silence. Birth stopped. At first, they thought it was temporary. Then, they started counting the years. Watching generations fade without replacement. Watching children grow into the last of their kind. Watching hope die. And through it all, her. Chosen because she was the only one whose biology still responded. The only one whose body could still create life. The weight of it crushed me. I carry them all, she said, her presence wrapping around mine. Every expectation. Every fear. You don't have to carry it alone anymore, I said. And for the first time, I felt her hesitate. The bond deepened. Our thoughts began to blur. Her emotions flowed into me like a tide, overwhelming and beautiful and terrifying. I felt her loneliness like a physical ache. I felt her hope, fragile, flickering. And then she felt me, my memories, Earth, humanity, our chaos, our resilience, our wars, our triumphs, our stubborn refusal to give up. You are loud, she said, almost in awe. I laughed somehow even here.
Yeah.
We get that a lot. But beneath that noise, she found something else.
Hope.
Not the fragile kind she carried, but something harder, more defiant. You endure, she said. We do. The connection surged. Pain hit me like a shockwave. My mind felt like it was being stretched, reshaped, rewritten. I gasped, or at least I thought I did. Stay with me, she called. I'm here, I said, though I wasn't sure if it was true. Our identities began to overlap. I could feel her thoughts as my own, her emotions as mine. I was losing the boundaries. Elias, she said, her voice anchoring me. Do not let go of yourself. I'm trying, I said, struggling to hold on to something. Anything that defined me. My name. My memories. My purpose. You are not here to become me, she continued. You are here to join me. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't about surrender. It was about balance. I pushed back, not against her, but against the merging itself. I held on to my identity while allowing hers to coexist. Not domination, not submission.
Partnership.
The pain eased. The chaos stabilized. And suddenly we were in sync. Not one mind, not two. Something in between. I feel you, she whispered. And I feel you, I replied. The bond completed. Energy surged through us both. Warm, powerful, alive. I felt something change inside her. inside us.
Creation.
The process ended slowly, like a tide receding. The connection faded, but didn't disappear entirely. A thread remained. When I opened my eyes, I was back in the chamber.
Exhausted. Drained.
But alive. Elira sat beside me.
Different. Her glow was brighter now.
Stronger. It worked, she said softly. Weeks passed. Then months. At first, nothing changed. And fear began to creep in. Had we failed? Had it all been for nothing? Then it happened. A signal. Biological activity.
Growth.
Elira was pregnant. The entire planet seemed to wake up. Those who had retreated into silence emerged. Hope spread like wildfire. For the first time in 70 years, there was a future. But the story didn't end there. Because as the child developed, something unexpected happened. Others began to change. Dormant biological pathways, long inactive, started to reactivate. It was as if the bond had done more than create life. It had restarted it. You didn't just help me, Elira said one day, her hand resting over where the child grew. You helped all of us. I shook my head. No, I said. We helped each other. She smiled. And this time, it wasn't lonely. When the child was born, I was there. It didn't look fully human. Or fully alien. It was something new. Something both. And when it opened its eyes, I felt the bond again.
Faint.
But present. A connection across generations. You are part of us now, Elira said. And for the first time, I realized she was right. I wasn't just a visitor anymore. I wasn't just a donor. I was family. The mission ended 6 months later. Earth welcomed me back as a hero. But I didn't feel like one. Because I had left a part of myself behind.
And taken a part of them with me.
Sometimes, late at night, I still feel it. That connection. That warmth. A reminder that somewhere out there, a species lives on. And it all started with a single choice.
To connect.
To trust. To become something more together.